Shallow Days. Harlequin eyed the Grendel warily. The orc was positively grinning from ear to ear, but that was very clearly a front. Harlequin had rarely met anyone more desperate to look so insouciant. He was rubbing his hands together instinctively, a classic tell for those who knew to look for it. This questioner hoped to gain by this meeting, and quite considerably given how much effort he was making to hide his agitation. "So you want to come to Anvil?" he asked. Best to say as little as possible. This orc clearly liked to run his mouth off, and Harlequin's golden rule was to never interrupt an enemy when he's making a fool of himself.
"No, no," rebutted the orc. "We very much enjoyed your hospitality last season. We'd like to return the favour this time. Sadly, our quarters at the inn are very cramped. We can only host a small number, so it will have to be a very exclusive affair."
"Yeah, of course it will. Who do you want to meet with, Grendel?"
"A meeting, you say? That would be an excellent idea, now you suggest it. Combine business with pleasure, yes. I should have thought of that myself."
Harlequin rolled his eyes. If this Grendel got any more transparent, he'd be made of glass.
"You could just let everyone know that this is just a little social soiree, just a few drinky-poos between friends. Well, that's why we've invited the Cardinal."
"Right, because you are friends with the Cardinal of Ambition. You think people will believe that?"
"We got on famously," protested the questioner. "We got on like a house of fire. She invited me to come and stay at her house."
The Grendel questioner spread his arms wide, as if imploring the world to dispute what he said.
"Must have been our shared love of the virtues, yes. Tell her we'd like to discuss her offer."
Harlequin blinked at the subtle change of tone. He didn't need to pick that up, it was deliberate. Damn it had all been deliberate. Too late he realised that this cocky little shit was playing him. Overview. The Empire signed a peace treaty with the Grendel in autumn 383 YE. As part of the treaty, they agreed that there will be peace between the two nations for a period of 2 years. The treaty includes a clause allowing for negotiations to begin in spring Equinox 385 YE to see if the treaty can be extended. As a result, Grendel representatives of the Council of Salt Lords are expected to attend Anvil this summit. The ambassador to the Grendel is Abel of Urizen, previously Bursar of the Conclave and raid leader for the Rationsgrab raid. They have the legal authority to negotiate a treaty with the Grendel for consideration by the Imperial Senate. At the previous summit, the Empire roundly rejected attempts by Salt Lord Kaliak of Spiral to make an agreement with the Empire on behalf of the territory she controls. It remains to be seen if her representatives will form part of any new delegation. Diplomacy. The 2-year peace treaty with the Grendel ends at the end of this year. Grendel negotiators will be attending Anvil to discuss an extension of the treaty. Emissaries are expected to arrive around 2200 on Friday night. The Salt Lords appear open to exploring the potential to extend the existing peace treaty, which has clearly benefited both parties. Their council has dispatched a small cadre of diplomats to meet with Ambassador Abel at 10 in the evening on Friday. This will be a formal delegation. They will be heading to the Senate building and expect to be received there. In terms of the negotiation, the Grendel wish to begin with an exchange of offers, as is their custom. In this approach, each party commits their opening position to paper, detailing both what they are offering and what they expect to receive in return, which are simultaneously exchanged. Both parties then withdraw to study the other's offer. If the side finds the written offer acceptable, then they may accept it. If neither party is prepared to do so, then they meet again to open formal negotiations. If both sides accept the deal, the details are quickly ironed out and the treaty signed. Obviously, any treaty will need to be acceptable to both the Imperial Senate and to the Salt Lords themselves. Both sides will need to ratify it. Given that the current treaty does not expire until the beginning of the autumn equinox, there is still time for tweaking the details if it becomes necessary. Information useful to the players. The Governor of Spiral is Salt Lord Kaliak, and wing messengers can be sent to her at her palace in Apulian, Apulus, Spiral. That's Salt Lord Kaliak at Apulian, Apulus, Spiral. The Grendel-appointed Governor of Feroz is Lord Rahab, and wing messengers can be sent to him at Oran Sarai, Feroz. That's Lord Rahab at Oran Sarai, Feroz. The official delegate from the Salt Lords to the Empire is Speaker Morna, and wing messengers can be sent to them at House of the Seventh Forge, Duvtraig, to Thar. That's Speaker Morna, House of the Seventh Forge, Duvtraig, to Thar. Visiting armadas. The Grendel navy, the Golden Winds, remains moored off the coast of Necropolis. A second Grendel navy has moved into position off the coast of Madruga. Many of their sailors have been visiting the hostelries and taverns of the territory. The Golden Winds, a Grendel armada, has now been in place for the best part of a season, anchored in the protected waters off the coast of Necropolis. Thus far, it has made no aggressive moves to attack. On the face of it, they are simply there to take on fresh supplies and trade with local merchants. At the winter solstice, the Highborn Assembly passed a judgment that encouraged interaction with the Grendel, albeit with some significant reservations. That judgment read, Grendel traders looking to stockpile imperial goods that they hope will rise in value if there is a war should be treated with civility, but shown the door. Grendel traders who are looking for a long-term relationship should be welcomed and treated generously, especially if they invest up front for goods that shall only be delivered if the treaty persists. Every merchant who can convince a Grendel that being our friend is more prosperous than being our enemy is an extra soldier free to support their fellows across the Empire. Wildfire, Highborn National Assembly, Winter Solstice 384 YE, upheld 247 to 10. There was some potential for Highborn business owners in Necropolis to benefit from trade with the Grendel, but the statement contains too many caveats to take advantage of that opportunity. It was enough to persuade the armour to remain moored in Necropolis, but not enough to convince more than a few business owners and traders to engage with the Grendel. Part of the problem is that Grendel traders are definitely looking for bargains. They drive a hard negotiation over even the smallest deal. They're certainly not remotely interested in paying for any goods that will be delivered only if the treaty persists, and any attempt to cut a deal on that basis produces riotous laughter and mockery from the Grendel. There are no friends to be made here, only coin. The Highborn Assembly could issue a mandate that constitutes a full-throated endorsement of trade with the Grendel. That mandate would read, No one knows what the morrow holds, but the honest trade with the Grendel demonstrates the value of prosperity. We send named priest with 25 doses of Lao to urge every citizen to enjoy the fruits of our labour today, so that we may all benefit from fair trade with them. Synod Mandate, Highguard National Assembly. If this mandate is passed, then every business in Necropolis will gain 2 crowns additional income for as long as a Grendel navy remains in the territorial waters. Necropolis is not the only imperial territory to discover that they are now hosting the Grendel. Shortly before the spring equinox, a second navy, the Tempest, takes shelter in the calmer waters between Mudport and Sorok. Like the Golden Winds, it makes no attempt to take any hostile action, instead claiming only that they wish to resupply and take advantage of what opportunities remain to trade with the Empire while the peace treaty lasts. The business owners of Madruga could also benefit from 2 crowns each in the coming season if the Freeborn Assembly issued a similar mandate confirming that all things can have a price. Let us take advantage of these Grendel while we can. We send named priest with 25 doses of Lao to urge merchants and traders of the Brass Coast to show these guests the price of our hospitality. Synod Mandate, Freeborn National Assembly. If this mandate is passed, then every business in Madruga will gain 2 crowns additional income for as long as a Grendel navy remains in the territorial waters. Nets and Feroz. The Cerevado nets have been established just in time for the spring equinox. Rahab is more angry than ever, but seems unable to respond to the theft, inverted commas, of the Socorrero nets. The Grendel have begun, and half completed, a plan to fortify the town of Oran. During the winter solstice, the Imperial Senate enacted an audacious plan to steal the Socorrero nets from Governor Rahab, the Grendel-installed ruler of occupied Feroz. Working swiftly, and with the assistance of several former net riggers, the scheme has been flawlessly executed. A new boar seat has been established upriver at Cerevado, and the first Ilium is already being gathered. A custodian of the new resource will be chosen by the freeborn fleet captains during the spring equinox. As expected, an already furious Rahab has reportedly been driven to the verge of apoplexy by this development. There are wild rumours flying around that Rahab has desperately been trying to find allies to help him respond with force, but the Council of Salt Lords have allegedly expressly forbid any Grendel from taking action against the Empire. The treaty explicitly says that Rahab cannot send raiders to burn the Cerevado nets, given, quote, no raiding will take place from either side against the other, end quote, and the Grendel apparently refused to countenance any movement of armies over the borders. What the treaty doesn't prevent is the construction of defences. The other news from Feroz is that while their governor may be raging, that hasn't prevented the Grendel starting work on a new fortification. Work to reinforce the walls of Oran began shortly after the winter solstice and is already half finished, most likely due to the use of autumn magic. Given how poorly the administration of Feroz has gone for Rahab, it rather begs the question of who exactly is paying for it. The greatest weapon. A Grendel questioner will visit Anvil at 11 o'clock on Saturday. They wish to meet with priests of wisdom to discuss the similarities and differences between this and the Grendel virtue of cunning. As the official process of diplomacy between the Empire and the Salt Lords of the Grendel continue, groups in both nations take advantage of the last few months of guaranteed peace. One such group are the questioners of the Grendel, the religious advisors who earn their living by selling counsel to any who can meet their price. Apparently, a mixed group of influential questioners met with imperial cardinals at the winter solstice, and were able to enjoy the hospitality of Anvil without any untoward incidents. Following that meeting, and news of a statement of principle in the League National Assembly apparently calling for more diplomatic engagement, another party has decided to make the same journey to improve their understanding if they can. That statement of principle read, "Citizens of the League, let us reach out to the Grendel and strike a deal with them. With the current diplomatic mission and the continuing truce, we have an unrivaled opportunity. Recall Holberg's ascension to the League. In ambition and with national pride, we call on all priests to preach to their congregations. Let us challenge our Grendel visitors in debate and display to explore our deeply shared values. Paulus of Holberg, Winter Solstice 384 YE, upheld, greater majority, 299 to 12. While the previous group were a mixed bag of those who could speak about several of the Grendel's so-called virtues, the party who are attending Anvil this season are all focused on their virtue of cunning. They have sent word ahead that they intend to arrive at Anvil at 11 in the morning on the Saturday of the Spring Summit, and make their way to the hub to meet with any interested parties. They wish to take advantage of the hospitality of the Empire while they still can, and also to discuss philosophy with imperial priests of the Wisdom Assembly. They are hoping that Hembeneth Iguera, the cardinal of that assembly, will be able to make time to meet with them, but frankly they're prepared to talk to anyone interested in a rank discussion about cunning and wisdom. These questioners have apparently been struck by great similarities and great differences between the two virtues, and are keen to learn what they can.
After all,
as one of them says in their message,
knowledge is power.
Learn to put it on. An important Grendel dignitary has sent Graham the Questioner to request an exclusive meeting in Outer Anvil for 1:30 on Saturday afternoon. They have asked Harlequin to invite Flavio Capra Glausio von Holberg, Cesare Sanguineo Rezia di Tisato, Giuseppe Sanguineo von Temeschoir, Yarrick Orzel, Paulus of Holberg, Shawnee de Virgo, and Viviane de Coeur de Four to accompany them to the meeting. They appreciate these citizens are very busy, and some may have other matters to attend, but they hope that most of them will take this opportunity to meet. A week before the summit begins, there is a little scuttlebutt about a Grendel merchant from Spiral who has taken rooms at the Spotted Hound, one of a number of inns that host visitors located in Outer Anvil. Travelling with both orc and human mercenaries and servants, they've not stirred much from their rooms since they arrived, apart from to dispatch one of their number to speak with the Harlequin, the League Egregore. The spokesperson for the group appears to be a Grendel questioner called Graham. He handles the negotiation with the innkeeper and pays for the rooms, and it is him that emerges periodically to travel to Anvil and arrange messages and couriers. However, it is soon apparent that he is here on behalf of someone much more powerful than himself. Clearly, the bodyguards outside the chambers are not protecting him. It's not clear who they are here to protect, but the rumour is that it is the leader of one of the powerful Spiral factions, perhaps the North Marive Trading Consortium, the Circle of Black Sand Coven, or possibly even a figure from the court of the Salt Lord Caliact herself. For further reading, please look to the pages on the Grendel Treaty, the Autumn 383 YE Peace Treaty with the Grendel, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, the 384 YE Wind of Fortune update about relations with the Grendel, Drums Beat in My Head, the 384 YE Winter Wind of Fortune laying out the play to steal the Socorrero nets, The Sweetest of Song, the 384 YE Summer Wind of Fortune about the Grendel situation, The Power Behind Our Moves, the 384 YE Summer Wind of Fortune detailing the successful evacuation of Feroz, Pebbles Drawn from a Heap, the 384 YE Spring Wind of Fortune about offers from Salt Lord Caliact, Struggle with the Sea, 384 YE Spring Wind of Fortune laying out the evacuation of Feroz, From the Sieve to Your Hands, 383 YE Winter Wind of Fortune detailing the occupation of Spiral, To Curb Those Raging Appetites, 383 YE Winter Wind of Fortune detailing the occupation of Feroz, Bones to the Ocean, 383 YE Winter Wind of Fortune about the Isle of Orsini deal with the Grendel. This Empire LARP audio Wind of Fortune was sponsored by the Grendel Independent Traders. Use code EMPIREWOFELA at checkout to get 5% off of your first purchase of 30 thrones or more. That's EMPIREWOFELA at checkout to take advantage of this exclusive deal. Grendel Independent Traders. Shopping with cunning.